here we go. And here we go. And here we
bungled the start that time, but Noel Nation, welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown with yours truly, George Georgitis, owner and operator of renegadereport.substack.com and this YouTube channel, and my lovely and beautiful co-host, as always, Jen Santee, aka Jen Noel 2013. You can find her at Jen Santee 1890 on X. Straight below me, my good friend Chris Rager of Spear Addicts. He's going to be with us for the first 30 minutes of the show. You can find him at Spear Addicts everywhere, right here on YouTube, X, Facebook, all the platforms. And today's special guest, our good friend, former fullback at Florida State. I think you're the first one that ever said, give it to the damn fullback. We like to highlight that when we bring you on here. MFTK Foundation founder, Dim Media Group right here on YouTube. You can find him on X at Big Game James _36. You can catch all of us Saturday at Lot 5 at the spring game for the Din Media Group Spear Addicts / Dope Talk Tailgate. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be a ton of former players there. You can bring your kids. I believe kids under 12 get in free, something like that. But the adults, it's all you can eat, all you can drink. I'm talking about 3 different food vendors. We're not talking about well drinks and beers. They got pretty much a full bar. So come have a good time. Tickets are real cheap. You still have time to get those. What's up, everybody? It's Portal Eve. We've talked a lot about pundits have said it's crazy what's going on. It's unlimited free agency here the past 3 or 4 years. Well, here we're on the eve of literal NCAA free agency coming up with the one-time transfer portal rule in the dust. It's pretty much unlimited. Guys can transfer without penalty. You've seen a lot of guys transferring from already, from that committed. They transferred when the first window was open. You could see more of those. You're going to have guys that have found out, maybe they're not in line for a starting position, people that have been brought in over them that might not get there. But I guess we can start with James, our honored guest today. What's your first thoughts on just the portal overall and what all the differences are going to be like? Is it going to be a mass exodus? We've had smaller second periods, but I think people aren't really ready for what we've got coming up tomorrow.
I liken it to hurricane season. Every year, Florida's about to be taken off the map because of the hurricanes, and then it's never really as bad as what you think. I think every day or every year we have the transfer portal, it's going to be a little bit more until the market eventually corrects itself. But I don't think it's going to be as entertaining as what people think, but there will be some big names. And it's not because the kids are not wanting to compete. It's because you've got 10 to 15 notable programs that are over the 85 scholarship limit. So they've got to get pushed out. So what would shock me is all of a sudden Florida State is, I'm just using this as an example. Florida State coming off of a snub for the playoff. All of a sudden we get gutted for 25 players. What happened to Alabama the last transfer period was wild. But considering you're losing Nick Saban and you don't know who the new coach is, that was wild. I don't really see that happening here because it's tough to build a championship roster without having the 15. Basically, it's not really 15 practices. It's really January through April to actually install. Because even when you're doing your I was about to call them fourth quarter drills, but what do we call it? Tour duties. Yeah. When you do your other stuff, you've got player-led practices. You've got opportunities to really go over film and things like that with the guys, which helps your learning capacity. What you have now is that most will come in May. They'll be able to get 90 days of workouts, and then in August they're going to be learning a playbook at full pace with other people going. So I don't really think that if these offenses are as complex as what everybody's saying, it's going to be difficult for you to have that. Now it's easier for Florida State to have done it with one player. We only had a Keon Coleman. We had, I believe, I forgot who the defensive end was, or Jaden Jones, I think, came later. And then we had Cryer come, but Cryer wasn't expected to be an impact player. So, I don't really I'm not a scary person. I'm not scared of my own shadow, and I know how the media works. I'm not finna just go around crying about something that's here, that's been here. We need to lose. I know for Florida State, we need to lose. We need 10 guys to leave, maybe more. I mean, I hate to say it, I hate to even say it like that, but that's because we've been successful in the other transfer portal as well as recruiting, and we've got and we already know where we're solidified in our starting positions. It's other schools that I believe that don't really have all of their starting positions solidified that are going to go try to find luck, and I think they're going to be sadly mistaken.
Facts. I agree. It's going to be a lot more out the door than in. And I guess you can take over there, Chris. I know we were like, 90 guys, and then we have the scholarship reductions. So, how are you feeling about tomorrow? Similar to me and James, I'm sure, but I guess just take it from there. I know there's not a question, but.
Well, first off, Michael Alford just wrote and said, could he put in a
I saw it.
I don't know who that is. Don't know who this
On
is?
Twitter?
Yeah, he just commented on the video.
Oh man, yeah, I didn't see that. I was like, how did I miss that one?
I got it. I'll tell him I can get him whatever he needs.
Absolutely.
I don't know who that is, but Mike can get some ribs whenever he wants to. As long as he brings me some cookies.
Well,
My
Mike's
wife makes some mean cookies.
Mike's already told me him and a couple other people are coming by the tailgate. So
it's gonna be something. I can't wait.
I didn't mean to jump off topic, but he wrote.
No,
right
that's a spot where we address that when it comes up. We get Mr. Alford
Yeah.
whatever he needs.
Yeah, he wants some rendezvous barbecue. I got it. That's what he
We'll
wants.
make
'Cause
it happen.
That's a Memphis thing.
Yeah,
it is a Memphis thing. He saw I was coming, so he responded, "Can he put in the order for rendezvous?" And I was like, "I can get you whatever you need. I got you.
That looks kind of good right there. Shit, I might need some.
Rendezvous
barbecue.
I'm looking at the picture right now, man.
That's what Memphis is all about, right? And that's I guess that's the best spot, huh?
Yes.
He gonna want Freddie's barbecue.
You might have to bring a party platter.
I
don't know.
Jack places better than anybody.
Which one?
Any of the the holes in the walls?
Oh yeah.
Those are the best. But
Morris Barbecue in like a gas station in Memphis, I swear to God, is the absolute best barbecue in Memphis. And unfortunately it burned down. Or I like Central. Rendezvous is great, but we all have our little quirks here.
Tom's barbecue's pretty damn good in the hood.
Oh yeah.
Tom's rib tips are the best. But anyways, onto the portal. I'll talk about barbecue all day.
I have some in my fridge. I got it yesterday.
Got one place in Pensacola I'll brag about, but yeah, we can get into it.
Me personally, I've got Florida State losing 12 to 14 guys in the portal. For us to lose 12 or 14 guys in the portal, you're going to know their names. You're going to know who they are. People are going to not be happy with some of them, and then some people understand why. But we don't have a choice in this matter. The standard of Florida State has been lifted. Therefore, the talent level of Florida has now been lifted. So there's going to be, I won't say a mass exodus from any particular team, but there's going to be some really good athletes that enter themselves into the portal due to the situations of wherever they're at. And the way that Florida State's been able to pull from the portal and them all end up being pretty much some of the best players on the team that year. Mike's not going to stop doing what works. It's not broke, so there's nothing to fix. So he's going to drop the guys that haven't either developed into what they were supposed to. Some guys that are, I will say this, there's going to be a couple of them that they stand in their own way. They won't do what's necessary to become a rotation piece or to fight for a starting position. We've already had a couple of those guys leave, but unfortunately, we still have a few left. I will say that there's one in particular that will surprise a lot of people. But that room is what it is, and you can't change it. So You won't be picking that position up once this gentleman puts his name in. You're going to probably replace that with a defensive lineman or a linebacker or maybe an offensive tackle. So it is what it is. You need right now, if you count Greedy Vance, you need 9 more to leave just to get to the scholarship level, which of 85, which we kind of need to be below that because of the sanctions.
5, correct? That's how many that's supposed to be taken away unless anything changes. And we're at what, about 90 guys now? So 10 at least that have to go.
5 over 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have to have 5 every year, so it could be 2, it could be 1, it could be nothing. And then we do 5 next year, but we do have to get rid of 5 over 2 years.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, you could go ahead and get them all out of the way if it fits your interest this year, or you could do 1 or 2 or 3. That's really nice to go. Anything to add, Jen, before we go kind of position by position and break it down?
No, I'm just enjoying hearing you guys talk about it. So I'm going to let you guys take that and run with it.
Absolutely. Chris, you already mentioned a couple spots and, kind of hinted on my take on it and what we've hammered on this show. What Florida State, Mike Norvell, Derek Ray, when it comes to the roster, what their strengths are, what one of the absolute best things they are, what they do is evaluation. And along with that valuation, it's not just evaluating transfers in the portal. It's not just evaluating high school guys. It's evaluating your own roster every day. When you come out of each phase of the camp, when you have that exit interview, like there's evaluations that go on all the time. Is a guy always willing to wait like a Darius Washington and put his time in to where now, look, he's a 5th-year senior and this dude's a starting left tackle, got the world ahead of him. Some guys aren't. It's hard. If you're at offensive line and you're in year 3 and they bring 2 guys in that are going to start over you that are close to your same age, it's tough. So you can't blame them. A guy like the one guy we have already that we know for sure, and Greedy Vance Jr., it's tough when you bring in an Earl Little Jr. when you were hoping to be able to get a higher snap count, and you have an Edwin Joseph coming up, and you've got you get 5 young guys coming up. So they're just constantly refreshing this roster, dropping the bottom 10, 15 guys and upgrading. It's just simply how they've done it. And we've got to a point now when you guys see these names start to hit in the morning, there's not going to be any names that you're just like good riddance anymore. They're all going to be guys that at some point in time you hoped was going to be a star at Florida State, you thought could probably start. And I'll start off with running back. It's a position that's pretty stacked. I absolutely loved Keziah Holmes coming out. I thought, coming after spring or after the season when I think CJ Campbell transferred, you had Trey Benson going out. It really looked like you could have a Toa Feely and a Keziah be a 2-headed monster. You saw Keziah posting all over Twitter, everywhere, fired up. Like it looked like this was going to be his year. Well, camp, things have went through it, hasn't been his best camp. And all of a sudden, you've got other guys stepping up. So I went from thinking, look, and he went from thinking like I could be the dude that starts at Florida State and do all this. And that's not to say he doesn't finish out camp, come into fall and do it. But could you blame a guy that went to Penn State as an all-world recruit, came down to Florida State after injury and played a whole year basically off the roster, with a situation where he practiced with the team but couldn't play, then works his ass off last year? You couldn't blame him if he went somewhere. Who are some other names in that room when you look around? You've got Sam Singleton, who's just a true sophomore. Haven't really seen much from him. I don't think he leaves, but you could see it. Micah Hydanzy coming in. You've got a bunch of guys. You're bringing in a Jalen Lucas. So those are a couple of the names in the running back room I look at, but most everybody else, Cam Davis, I think everybody else in there is pretty locked in, and that takes us to tight end. James, Chris, either one of y'all, whichever y'all want to take for that.
Well, tight end's going to be a little bit strange because the 2 that you could potentially let go would be Jarrell Powers, and then it would be West. And I don't know that you let go of West because he's actually done pretty decent over the past couple of years. But now you're in the situation, how do you push out Powers if necessary because he's injured? And you know that realistically no one's going to pick him up. And there's also a lot of shade thrown at releasing guys unless they want to leave on their own to release someone that's injured. So Unfortunately, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the tight end room, other than maybe Jackson West, and that's just pure speculation. I'm not saying that he's gone. I'm just you're going to have to get rid of 12 to 14 players. Period. Now, who those 12 or 14 are, it's going to be based off of production. It's going to be based off of future predictions of production, the analysis that's being put out based off of plays that you're going to call with DJU and so on. So, how effective will Jackson West be? How effective will certain players be? And that's, I think, the most common but also very analytical way to get rid of guys that aren't stepping up. But here's the best part of this. A lot of people don't talk about this a lot in college football. And no, the public doesn't get to know. But you pretty much know who Florida State's trying to get rid of based off of who they send to get a drug screen. Because they can use that against you.
Without a doubt.
And that's not just Florida State that does that. I'm just giving people a heads up.
I'm talking to my boy Hove right now, and because Louisville just had 5 guys that they just reported. He was like, well, we're 9 over the scholarship limit, and we got to lose 6 more because we're trying to go get people in the portal. So, like, it's a situation where just everybody's going to feel these effects, man.
Yeah, people freak out. It's the same thing when people are like, oh, they're only leaving for the money. It's just simply not that. And just to pound home what Chris is saying, like, not that, we're not, this is pure speculation, but it's not like, it's easy to read the tea leaves. Like, you don't have to have the connections that Chris and James and I'm starting to like rack up. You just have to look down the roster. I'm counting. You've got running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, linebacker, DB, D-line. That's 7 defensive groups. You could call it 9 if you break up the defensive line and the DBs. Okay. And you've got, like Chris has said, 12 to 14 guys have to leave. So we've already went through running back and wide receiver or tight end. And I guess we can go to the next one. I guess we don't have to go in order, James, whatever position you want to talk about. It's not hard to figure out the guys who could possibly leave. And we're here to tell you, nobody has left Florida State that's been a starter projected for the year and killed us. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to lose guys that are better off somewhere else.
I mean, what's funny about the only one that kind of gives me some, and I pray he doesn't do this, but is Greedy. But at the end of the day, like I'm hearing that they're interested in him in South Florida a little bit. I hope better for him. But I'm not saying I'm not mad. Obviously, you couldn't be here, but I hope, like, my hope is that I had a friend reach out to me from LSU. I would love for him to go back home and ball out back at Louisiana State University. But a guy that I wouldn't want to see go down south, but I know they're looking to bolster their receiving room as well. But we got 5 senior wide receivers, and I mean, we're really top heavy, and then we're really, really young. Obviously, one of the 5 is a guy you brought in Malik Benson. Another one of the 5 is a guy who's been a solid contributor since he's been here. And that's Ja'Kai Douglas. The other 3 are, one of them, one was a project that you had extremely high hopes for that, I want him to figure it out. He just hasn't figured it out here. And that would be Deuce. And then the other 2 just can't stay healthy. And as, people are liking what I'm saying, can't make the club in the tub. Like, we can't, it doesn't matter how great of a person you are, if you're injured, you can't play. So, and that's Portier, and then that's Darren Williamson. You can see these flashes. Williamson with the drops, which is unfortunate. Same thing with Deuce. Portier is the guy who you've seen make good plays, and if he can stay healthy, I believe he'll be a very contributing factor to here. But I can also see the temptation of, hey, come here and be the number 1 guy. And I wouldn't even be mad at him for that. Because, again, the goal is for all of these guys to get a chance to go to Indianapolis, interview, get a chance to hear their name called that 4th weekend in April. And I want that for these guys. But it's also the goal of college, in Mike Norvell and Derek Ray in particular, to make sure you put up a roster that's going to give you the best opportunity end of the season. So I think I only think we lose 2. in that position. I think two are, told that, hey, you got to go do what's best for you. But I can see how we can have three.
No doubt. I guess I don't want to leave Jen completely out here. I got a good one for you. Is there somebody on this roster that you just absolutely would break your heart if they left? Is there somebody that just anybody on your, that you just could not stand it for them to leave that would break your heart?
I'd hate to lose Armella. I mean, I would, just because of the ties and everything, and I do think he's going to be a good player. So I mean, I would hate to lose him. Always offensive linemen for me are something that it just makes me just go ugh when they leave, because of the past where there hasn't, the backup is just not what we would want, right? So
Vietnam flashbacks.
yeah, I do get a little PTSD off of it, but at the end of the day, I think that the coaching staff knows what they're doing, and I'm gonna trust how it goes. So, I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, and that's one of those guys I think Chris mentioned earlier. These offensive linemen. You bring in Richie, you bring in TJ, and those guys are getting rave reviews. They're not going to transfer out. They just got here. You've got Darius. You know what he is. Maurice ain't going nowhere. That guy's holding down that center position and going to battle that thing as long as he has any kind of eligibility left. I love that about Maurice. But did you want to expand on the offensive line, or is there somebody else you wanted to take it, Chris?
There's two potentials that I think they're in the offensive line, possibly three. But unfortunately, Armella is one.
Yeah.
Estes has been here for quite some time now. Some people say Estes, whatever his name is. He's been here for almost 3 years, so therefore, or he has been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
For you to be literally damn near the exact same weight as an offensive lineman as you came in as, under Storms, under the nutrition program, are you not serious about trying to play the offensive line at Florida State? Because everybody wants to go, well, I like this kid or I like that kid. I will say this. You've got one young man out of the two that we're naming. You've got Armella. He's got all the size and all the athletic ability that you would want from him. The question that you have is does he have it here? In between them ears, is every time that they're calling plays and formations, the smoke start blowing out of his ears. Because usually when guys have the attributes to play the game, it starts being a mental test. Now you're not picking up this or you're not picking up that. So that's the question that you have. They moved him. Usually it's not a great sign when you move a guy from tackle to guard in a lot of cases, especially one of his size. But when you start moving people around, you just told that young man, you ain't got what it takes to play tackle. I think you might be better suited at guard. Now, whether he likes the opportunity or looks at it as a downgrade or a demotion, that's where the questions start coming in. So I think you've got one that just physically has not made themselves relevant, and then you've got one that mentally has struggled with a lot of what's going on. So I don't want to lose Armella any more than the next person. But if we lose Armella and we bring in, I don't know, the offensive tackle from Arkansas, that I'm not going to cry. There's nothing for me to be upset about.
What year is the kid from Arkansas?
He'll have 2 years of eligibility left.
Oh, yeah. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you're attached to Armella. I mean, he's a legacy.
Yeah.
A guy that it kind of marked. It was a line of demarcation in recruiting when we started to get some blue chip offensive line coming in here. And the same thing with Estes. I've had high hopes for him. Jalen Early's kind of in the same boat. He hasn't got on the field a ton, maybe more than the other two last year. But, it's fair. We've got, I don't know the exact number, so I don't want to say it, but I know we got close to 20 offensive linemen, and the position is deeper than it's ever been. Another guy that was brought in is Robert Scott, but another guy who's kind of injured right now, so it's tough if you were to go on the market and just knowing Robert Scott, he's the last guy that would ever be on your mind for a transfer. So hopefully I don't jinx that. but that's just kind of how I feel about it. That really leaves defensive line and linebacker, I believe, is all we really haven't touched on before we get into practice and what's going on with the team a little bit. James, you got anything there?
I mean, you've got Aaron Hester might be one of the guys that's low on that totem pole that I just don't see a line of where he can play. It's almost like that Greedy Vance style. Like Greedy Vance we like, right? But when you go and you look at that DB room, obviously, Pat Surtain has a type. It's clear. Like the type isn't 5'10". The type is 6 is he like him Jen height, apparently. Like Jen's 6 foot. So like you gotta be tall. And when I'm looking at Aaron Hester, 6'2", and the media guy is 6'1", 6'1.5" as well. So I remember always joking saying like he's about my height playing defensive end, and that doesn't really work when you look at what we have. I'm looking at Lolo is 6'3", 6'4", vertical, 6'3", 6'4" wide. Like the boys, he's so big that he doesn't look tall at all.
Man, 6'8" or 5'8".
Durjay 6'4", Patrick Payton 6'5", Turner 6'4", Jones 6'5", other Jones 6'5", Lamont Jr. 6'3", 6'4", Amari Williams coming in 6'4". So obviously, what's like who? It's kind of a case of who doesn't belong here. And then you're looking at what you're trying to bring in the future. That's where we're deep. Obviously, Patrick Payton, Marvin Jones will probably be two of your starters there. Byron Turner, Lolo, Durjay are also giving you that second round of guys. Byron Turner's had a really good camp. The other Jaden Jones has had a good camp. When you're looking at here 3 in a row, like bro, like we got. I'm sorry, like we need that spot this year. And then amongst the D line, I don't really think we're in position to get rid of anybody because we're going to probably have to add there. Farmer when he's practicing, he hasn't done much, but Jackson is really. And what's crazy about that, we don't have any seniors in that department, so. You got Lyons, who's kind of taking a step, but we need him to get even better. But that D line, there's only going to be one casualty, more than likely, because you need to add 2 to 3, potentially another DN, and potentially definitely another D tackle, even if it's just a guy who's willing to come in and be a rotational second string guy. With that being the idea of getting them incorporated in, or preferably find a guy that you may have recruited that didn't do as great where they wanted to. You're familiar with them, bring him in. Going back to offensive line, I know he's probably not going to come here, but the young man from that went to USC that just hit the transfer portal. I know we got his teammate. Yeah, we got his teammate, and I think a lot of people were, looking at us as potentially having 2 flips from USC. But that would be a guy that, if we're to believe that, it was just California's different than Florida. And he just wanted to get back home. That'd be a good culture fit. But as we all know, Mike, you got to fit. It's not just if you're good. It's not about the stars with these guys. It's about how do you match.
Facts. And somebody asked a good question. They asked about the quarterback room. I could go off on that one, but we only have Chris for a little bit longer. So what do you got? What rant you got for the quarterback room? I think I know the answer to this one, though.
I mean, you don't have to worry about anybody that's got a scholarship, and you don't have to worry about one that doesn't. If a non-scholarship player transfers, doesn't hurt you or harm, or even help anything. So McNamara maybe, but I doubt it very seriously. I think he's fine with where he's sitting at. But you had a 4-star walk-on. He's a preferred walk-on. It's not going to harm you, but Jackson's not going anywhere in his first year. Luke Cromenhawk just got here. He's not going anywhere in his first year. And Brock Glenn this year isn't going anywhere based on next year should be his starting year. DJU's obviously not transferring anywhere. He just got here. So The quarterback room's pretty easy. No one's leaving.
That top four is safe. That top four is pretty damn safe.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this is a year we brought DJU in for a reason. If DJU gets injured, then we obviously have to temper expectations because we're going to go through growing pains with Brock Glenn and Luke Cromall. I still would pick us to win 10 games. It just wouldn't be as clean, 10 games or more, but it just wouldn't be as sexy as it would be with the guy who's actually had some reps. But I think we know what we got with the quarterback room. Obviously, you don't want any injuries there, but we're fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have two quarterbacks leaving the previous portal, like it's not like we're pretty good. Like maybe next year, I feel like it's going to take somebody else coming in to push somebody out, and that just leaves linebacker. I guess Chris, you can take that one. Is there anybody that you worry about leaving there? It's another position where you don't see a ton of guys. You might think of. I know I want to bring in one. I guess we could go to that if you have enough time. Who we're looking at possibly bringing in, but yeah, linebacker is the only one we haven't covered yet.
I mean, you would be looking to bring in a veteran type.
Yeah.
Maybe one that's still got 2 years, but has had substantial playing time. But Malik Murphy, or is that Sean Murphy, was a good ad, but I haven't seen enough. Oomph from him yet. He seems to be very smart and knows where everybody needs to be. But I haven't seen him do anything just off the wall yet. Not saying he would go anywhere. It's just, even though you saw some hype from Omar Graham Jr., where Fuller talked about him and stuff like that, and I don't want to be the first person to say this, but for a lot of teams, not just Florida State, the majority of the 2022 class, and I'm talking about across all teams, and I hate saying this word, but it's been damn near a bust. There's not a lot of players in the 2022 class across the country that have added up to be much of anything. So Omar is one of those 2022 classmen. I think Nicholson's not going anywhere because he showed too much promise. He's from the year after in 23. Crier's definitely not going anywhere. DJ Lundy's definitely not going anywhere. And then Sean Murphy that you just brought in is not going anywhere. So, unfortunately, if I had to pick one that would leave, it would have to be Omar Graham Jr.
Yeah, unfortunate. I compare it to like a Darion Williamson last year. Or like a Jacob Frauenkrug when Jimbo Fisher was here. There's always the one guy who, like, even though they get a bunch of hype, and it's almost like the coach is trying to, get him going, and maybe he is doing good for his development, but just not where he needs to be. And I guess that takes us into like kind of the positions of need. Who do we think we're going to start attacking come tomorrow? And I know you've got a few things on your mind as far as that. We can start with Jen and go around the world. Oh, we can't hear you. You got yourself muted.
Sorry. Okay, so start attacking, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I would love to see a lot of these players who might be on the cusp of transferring to that, if that's what you're asking.
No, I mean, as far as bringing players in.
Oh, bringing players in. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
What positions you would like to get a player or two to stiffen up that roster?
Lord. Defensive end, I think, for me. I don't. All right, so I would say I would like to bring in another wide receiver who might not be as injury prone. And again, I don't know. This is just for me, because we seem to have a lot that just seem to be injured. And then I would say a linebacker. I would.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like Chris was saying, an experienced linebacker.
Yeah.
If we're going to bring in a linebacker, it's going to be somebody that's going to come in and, in my opinion, be a part of that three-man rotation. You're going to have two guys that start and another guy that gets a ton of reps. And if that's Sean Murphy, that could be that third guy. I'll be extremely happy about the rotation going into the year, but I would prefer him to be that guy, that second guy. So we'll see how that goes. James, who you think we need to go after?
I mean, D tackle, linebacker, and then D tackle, linebacker, offensive lineman, if you can find another one, and then outside of that, the only thing you may want, if you can find a premium wide receiver, not necessarily, one that can come in and get reps. I mean, I'm looking at, again, the depth chart right now. If everything stays the way it is, you have 5 seniors, 2 sophomores, and you'll have 6 freshmen. Like, you literally have nothing. Like, there's no gaps. You need something. Like, you need a little bit more seniority in that locker room, and not necessarily as a senior. You need to go find another junior or even another sophomore. Like, if Destin Hill wasn't hurt, then I'm just like, all right, whatever. But with Destin being out, I think you need to find something. I mean, that would be my initial thoughts on that. I think our starters, I mean, Washington, Byers, Scott's a swing guy on the offensive line. Everybody, your interior, you got, Mo, Keandre Jones, Ferguson from Alabama is going to probably be your other interior lineman, with Richie Leonard being able to go swing. I think, again, the only thing you need a D tackle to solidify stuff. There's a couple that are entering the portal now, but I don't necessarily want guys who are one and done. We need to go get, but the linebacker down the kid.
What
from
kind
Charlotte,
of tackle do y'all think we need? Like, what kind of defensive tackle do we need to get? Do we need to go for a one and done Braden Fisk, or try and get another guy like Grady
if you're
Kelly?
If you're going to get a Braden Fisk, we need that to happen in the spring.
For sure.
You need a guy because you don't need a starter per se. You need a contributor, but it's going to take a lot. And I don't know who's going to be all available for that right now. That's a tougher one. But I will say we got a linebacker that we have already been really entertaining. I think he's a graduate transfer now, and not just a traditional transfer portal guy, but that's the linebacker from Charlotte. Watching his film, watch what he's done against Florida. He's more of a downhill guy that gives you another guy in that that could potentially be a starter.
That Mikhail Green, is he still on the board? Was that
the kid's name from Charlotte?
Mikhail something? I believe so.
I don't remember what his name was.
I think while y'all are looking, I think what people need to understand as far as the transfer situation, you need an offensive lineman, bare minimum 1. You need a bare minimum of 1 linebacker. I would want more than that, but you need a bare minimum of 1. You need a bare minimum of, I would say, a wide receiver. So there's 3 bare minimums you need to bring in. But you need to get rid of 2 per one of the ones that you need. So you got to get rid of 6 just to bring those 3 in. And then you'll still be over. So then you're going to have to push out. How you need to think about this is what rooms can you allow to eliminate 1 or 2 guys from, and that room still be strong enough? Fortunately for us, where some people would disagree, the DB room. That's why you see Greedy Vance in there. I think you see the possibility of Kevin Knowles. I don't really want that, but I think you could see it. And if not Kevin Knowles, then there'll be another one. But there's 2 getting rid of, so you can bring in a wide receiver with that. Now, if you get rid of 2 wide receivers, or you could look at it like that, trade 2 wide receivers that aren't contributing or have been injured too long. And I'm just throwing names, but Williamson and Portier. You get rid of those 2 to bring in a premier wide receiver. You get rid of 2 DBs to bring in a defensive tackle. You get rid of a linebacker to bring in a linebacker. You could potentially see pushing a running back out, and I know a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but you can that's not a situation where you can't afford it. You can afford a running back to leave and bring in a defensive tackle or whatever case may look at, but you're going to have, in some room or the other, a multitude of something leaving. So if you get rid of an offensive lineman or 2, so let's say you get rid of Estes and Armello, you got rid of those 2 for 1 offensive lineman. Like, it's unfortunate that you have to get rid of basically times 2 of what you need to bring in, but you want to bring in a minimum of 4 to 5 guys based off of what your needs still are. You need more depth at offensive tackle. You need more depth at linebacker. You need more depth at defensive tackle. You need these things to potentially go to the playoffs and be a contender. So it's unfortunate that you're going to know these names, and a lot of these names are some people you don't like. I don't think anybody wants to see Armella leave. Everybody seems to be a huge fan of the kid already, but what contributions can you make? Availability is every athlete's greatest asset.
There's nobody left that just doesn't belong. You know what I mean? It's not like there's nobody you're gonna be happy to see go. Sorry to cut you off, Chris.
I'm a bad guy.
It's just the attributes of what building a championship caliber team or a 10-win or 10-plus win team. You're going to have to get rid of players that could have been, should have been, or might be. But right now, you're in a situation where you don't need the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and might grows on chicken asses. So don't. we can't live in that realm of, well, I love that kid. The name is, he's a legacy, or he's this, or he's that. Whatever the reasons are, you can't accept mediocrity because of someone you know. Like, I'm probably not a good friend to work for. I have a couple of things that I run that I'm dead honest with people. I will fire my own brother if he's not doing his job. That's just who I am. Because now you're fucking with my kids' money. Don't do that. So, and no, that is not a pot shot at my brother. I'm not firing him. But I know I can use him, and he'll understand what I'm saying. But go ahead.
I benched my son before.
Sometimes you just got to stay friends. I've had that, man. You be my best friend. We just oil and water. If you're a small business owner or a big, medium business owner, whatever the case may be, business, what is it? They say business and blood don't mix. Never mind. I can't say that part in this day and age. But sorry, James. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, nah, but it's one of the things that, I think people just got to really just look at what they have. When it comes to that, and be honest with it. And this is the beautiful thing about NIL that a lot of people don't like, and not the unfortunate part, but it's kind of a checks and balances system. I wish they would get rid of the multiple transfer, but just give you the one-time transfer. But these rosters are being pruned more like NFL rosters. So, again, I don't have as much shock because I cover the NFL. So I'm used to that bottom part of your roster is really where it's the most difficult to make the decisions. So when I don't think you can ever really just look at it as, this guy's led guarding the goal. There's some guys who in the past who kids have gotten to Florida State that I'm just like, yeah, his dad was great. Don't necessarily think he's great, but hope for the best. I won't say who is not, but I would literally, again, with my own son, my son's dream is to play for Florida State. And I'll be like, hey, man, if he's not good enough, I'm not going to allow his dream to turn into a nightmare for him. So, that's what I have to do as a guidance. And again, these coaches get paid a lot of money, and they get paid. I'll tell people till I'm dead and gone. But Billy Sexton told me when the money wasn't nowhere near as good, and that was my position coach. Billy said, I like you, but I love my wife. My job is my wife, and my wife loves this lifestyle, and that's how I keep her. So, in order for me to provide this lifestyle for her, I have to bring as many of you guys in as possible and hope that you guys stick. So it's never personal. Doesn't mean I don't. This doesn't mean I dislike you. It's just, or as I tell my running backs when I coach high school, I don't get paid enough to like or dislike you. I like to win. So, if you're I'm only playing who I feel is going to give me the best opportunity to win. If you want to play, be so good that I can't deny you. But I think they're going to go in, and the cool thing I've heard is that even with some of the guys who have decided to leave, that our coaches always continue to keep that same open communication. Whatever I can, they even help some kids make the decision for themselves. So it's not a thing where, I'm sure some people entered the portal and was like, F y'all. But most people are like, hey, you know what? I understand, Coach. You know, it sucks because I don't want to leave, but you know, everybody's got to do what's best for them.
I'm never going to be like, hey, let's just kick people out just so we can bring in good players. But it's going to be in best interest for some guys to go somewhere. It's just a matter of it's what football is today. And this is the best analogy I've been able to come up with it so far. For the people that freak out and want to worry when they hear Chris say it's going to be 12-14, and then we go through and talk about all the possibilities. Go back to when Jimbo Fisher was here and we were getting top 3 recruiting classes every year. We're pissed off because we're running 50 plays a game and we've got the best athletes in the entire conference. Well, when you have the best athletes in the conference, it's in your best interest to run the best amount of plays because eventually, as it wears out, as guys get tired, talent wears out. And when you have a Derek Ray and you have a Mike Norvell, the evaluators that they are, constantly improving kind of their level of recruiting and the level of guy they're bringing in here. 12, 14 guys off the roster. That just, that gets you where you need to be with your scholarships and a couple guys you can bring in. But we're already, this thing, I can't believe we're 46 minutes in. This is nuts. But I'm going to go ahead and throw the banner up and let people get calls. And then we can get into talking spring ball, whatever, play it by ear. But I appreciate you staying so long, Chris. I didn't realize you was going to be able to stay for this long. So it's been a blast, man. Everybody say thank you. Say thank you with questions and stuff. One of the questions we had was Nigel Kelly. I went back and forth in my head of whether we should go after him or not. I'd be fine if the staff brought him in. Jen said she wouldn't mind having another defensive end in that rotation. If Durajay is going to get a lot of side play inside, maybe you could. Where do you two fall on that?
I don't care one way or the other. Whether you bring Kelly in or don't. If you bring Kelly in, it's not like you brought in Marvin Jones Jr. is what I'm getting at. Like, Kelly's been injured a lot. He's also what you would consider an injury prone. He hasn't done a whole lot yet. Not that that doesn't mean he won't. But you're in the situation where you're not looking for bodies either. You're in a situation to where you're looking for proven talent, they're going to get something done. So the question isn't, are you going to bring in Kelly? The question is Kelly the best that you can bring in? So that's where you start. Luckily, I am that guy where I will get rid of players to bring in better ones. And the thing is this isn't new. Now, the transfer portal, in the essence that it's in, that's new. But it's more publicized now. The way we used to force people out is the same. It's just it wasn't talked about a whole lot. There wasn't a transfer portal in the measure of what it is now. So everything's public. Everybody knows so-and-so's leaving, so-and-so wanted more money. And some of that's bullshit on top of everything else, because just like the statements with Rodney Hill's leaving because he wants to make what Benson was making. That was a huge bullshit entity that put that out there, and it wasn't true. I don't think anybody wanted Rodney Hill to leave. As a fan, they were like, oh, man, Rodney looks like he's going to be good. Rodney's going to be this. Rodney's going to be that. Problem is you got someone behind him and this is before you added, Sam Singleton's right on his heels, if not more of what Florida State is looking for. Then you bring in Cam, Cam Davis is coming at that point. It is what it's supposed to be, really. We pushed Tate Rodemaker out. When he left, the way he did it, that's the get back of it. But he knew with how well Brock played, and you're bringing in Luke Kromenhawk, and you're probably looking, I don't think it would have mattered if Florida State would have been able to keep Tate. I still think we would have been pulling in DJU. I don't think it would have changed anything. So, and Tate was told that. Where we all think these conversations started, that conversation was done 5 weeks ago. These kids knew this shit weeks before it ever got in front of us. So it is what it's going to be, as always. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not the new car, shiny toy kind, but I am the damn, that car's a hell of a lot faster than this one.
Like a Jalen Lucas, I heard he's hitting 23 miles per hour out there at practice and shit. Glad we brought that son of a gun.
If you go back and you look,
that might be the solution too at wide receiver. Like
In the
you got to
slot.
find a place for Jalen Lucas. Like he's going to be. He's not really a running back. He's a running back, but he's more of a all around type of guy. For us, we want to get him in space.
Yeah, give him the ball in space. But I mean, go back and look at 2011, 12, and 13. People would be surprised at how many players were pushed out when you had the number 1, number 3, and number 5. Like it.
Nick Wasom.
You had a lot of guys get pushed.
If you only sign 25 guys, if you do 25 times 4, anybody, y'all can correct me on my math. That wasn't really my thing. Subtract. I love addition and multiplication, but I don't like subtraction. But I believe 4 times 25 gets you to 100, and you got to go 15 down to get to 85. If I'm thinking right. Now there's a guy that was over in Tuscaloosa that everybody loves that he says he's leaving because, the way things are going. He was a notorious oversigner. And every year you would just magically, you'd be 15 over. And then somehow those 15 people somebody get arrested, somebody something crazy happens, and they're no longer they're no longer on the team. So it's things that have always happened. People just haven't really paid attention to it. Hell, even as a former player, times when I just hey, where whatchamacallit go? Somebody's missing. I don't remember. You see so many people come and go, and it definitely when you get to the NFL or pro sports, you almost don't even make relationships with the new guys because I don't like leaving. I don't like seeing people go, so it kind of messes with me. So I just don't even get to know your name until you make the roster. Like when I was working as a strength and conditioning coach for a Marina football team, they're like, you don't talk to anybody. It's because I don't want to see you get I don't want to get to know you and like you, and then you get cut, and now I don't ever hear from you again. I'll talk to you when you make the team. The final cuts happen, so that happens, man.
Freaking tough, man. I was talking to Chris about this, or no, I think it was you I was talking to about it, of all the shit that Mike Norvell has to deal with. Get down these numbers, be able to bring in certain people. It's that's why Mike Norvell gets paid the money he does. Every kind of person out there, every player on the team, kind of walks. They've got their own world. They've got their own parents, their own siblings, their own problems. And yeah, you do get attached. And the fact that the people are able to leave and he's able to give them a pat on the butt, help them get to their next destination, the majority of the time, it is a beautiful thing. And again,
Mike
the numbers on the bottom of the screen, guys. If you want to call and get a question in, do it now. Sorry, James, go ahead.
Mike will never admit this. And I would never ask him to admit this. He doesn't need to admit this. You know who's leaving in good standings and who's not. If you've ever noticed, a kid will put his stuff hey, you know what? They'll put that whole edit up there and I'm leaving. And Mike, quick, quote tweet, really good player, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Heavy accolades. Other people say I'm hitting the portal and just crickets, man. Mike ain't hit no like, he ain't hit no retweet. He ain't even done nothing, man. It's funny, because a lot of coaches, what makes it obvious is there's coaches who don't even say anything to kids who leave. When you're gone, you're gone. But it is funny when you see Mike do that. I'm like, okay, that kid could come back. That kid's gonna be welcome to an alumni event. The other one, I'm like, yeah, all right. He might not be welcome as long as Mike's there. I don't think he needs to ask Mike for a letter of reference when he gets to the general population.
Again, guys, while we're kind of at peak efficiency here, we've got 460 viewers between Twitter and YouTube. We really appreciate everybody joining us. I just want to plug the Tailgate again. It's the Big Game James Den Media Group, Chris Frazier of Spear Addict, CJ Wilson of Dope Talk. Of course, me and Jen are going to be there helping out. Garnet and Old's going to be there with a booth, I believe, live streaming a podcast from the spring game. So there's going to be all kinds of ton stuff there. All you can eat, all you can drink. I believe kids under a certain age, again, are under free. As soon as we get off of here, or maybe even before we're done, I'm going to get that link from James and Chris and get it posted in the description. So you can click to go buy your tickets now. And if anybody has anything they want to share or plug about the spring game, now's the perfect opportunity. And don't forget that number is on the screen if you have any questions before we get into some more spring practice talk, even though I don't think we had practice yesterday. We'll touch on a little bit that went on Thursday.
I think one of the things is just don't worry about what's being said on Twitter. We run a showcase. Basically, what you're seeing is a situation. What's funny is I actually found the thing, and if you ever have time, go look up comedians Ricky Smiley and Little Daryl from Comic View. I have it on my phone. But God damn, when did we become a culture like we were so like that's terrible, right? I can't. I'm afraid to tweet that. Like, but it's hilarious because if you grew up during the time when I say kindergarten graduation, Easter speeches, you have kids that aren't as quick as everybody else. We call it specially able now. So but especially like this is for the specially able kids. Like not everybody gets a chance, or again, and even jokes. Preseason football is very similar too. Like after the first game in preseason, everything else is about seeing where people fit into your roster and really letting some people get some film to see if other teams want to be able to pick them up. Like that Thursday practice will probably tell us more about where this team is than anything, or whatever the last scrimmage is, which has got to be sometime next week. It's going to be a showcase. They'll have different things. Ole Miss did a flag football Pro Bowl style thing. Don't go looking for DJU to go with DBs playing off zone coverage, so that the quarterback can go 19 for 24, 300 or whatever yards, 3 touchdowns, or whatever it came out to be. They're going to. You may only see a couple times. You won't see anything over the top or overly crazy, but I still go to support it and hang out, but just understand what it is that you're looking for. Get an opportunity to see the sights and the sounds of what dope should look like. But our showcase is different than everybody else's game. I don't really know what else to tell you. I'm trying to think. I think in my entire career at Florida State, I went to 3 spring practices. I played in 1 spring game. They knew what I could do. Like I didn't need to go play a lot outside of that. I want to prep people for this. Like people are going to say a lot of wild, crazy stuff. Just be like, all right, cool. As I always say, so I think they're saying like Miami by 20 with some of the different things. It's like, cool, you're going to give me 20 points? What's the bet? I'll take 20. You giving me 20? I'll take 20 all day. I was like, I know that's not going to be the line when the game starts. But then it becomes a lot of other stuff. Well, I don't know yet. I got to see. Well, then why are you talking? Just vibe. And then, dang, that's right. FAMU had their spring game this past weekend. But I want to make this thing I want to put out there in the fall, guys. I know Doak is I think we're seating 50,000 this season. If you can't get tickets to a game, I'll go to a tailgate. But man, that team across the tracks, man, plays a good brand of football, man. I know this is a Knowles podcast. It's not as scary as you think it is over there, guys. There's some good food over there. It's a little different now. It's more like a big picnic where football happens to be played, but you're gonna have a ball. One weekend, I mean, I think when we play North Carolina, that city is going to be insane because that's FAMU's homecoming, and we have a home game. So
that's always the best.
Wherever you got to go, make sure you get there early. So, like, if that North Carolina game's at 8, you're going to want to. If FAMU game starts at 3, you might want to try to get somewhere by 4. Let them get at that FAMU game, and then come on over to the tailgate or whatever. But go check FAMU out. Is all I'm saying.
What's the money line on Keon Coleman showing up that week in Tallahassee?
Yo, if he got a bye week, I would definitely go keep Keon to be there. If he don't have a bye week, he's not going to risk it all. But I bet right now he's looking for the NFL. Looking forward to the NFL schedule release and what team drafts him, so he can definitely know.
Did you get a peek at that Ole Miss spring game, Jen? I'm sure you got something on that. That was the funniest shit I ever seen. We thought they were making fun of Miami, but it was literally what the hell they were doing.
I was too busy laughing at Miami for having to play in a women's soccer facility, a high school soccer facility with 500 seat capacity that they still couldn't sell out, which is wild to me. But of course, those fans are too busy tweeting on the internet to actually go to a women's soccer facility to watch their football team do their spring game, and then they wonder why people make fun of them. I don't have the words for that, but yeah, with Ole Miss is a joke. Ole Miss, look, I don't really have much to say about Ole Miss. I live like 30 minutes away from Ole Miss. The only people that go to Ole Miss are old, rich white people that have nothing better to do. Those are the only people that care about Ole Miss, honestly. Nobody else in their right mind that is growing up right now looks at Ole Miss. When you actually physically drive in from the state of Florida and you happen to have, there's that Ole Miss exit. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, Chris. You know exactly what I'm about to say here. You pull up, you're driving, and there is the biggest Confederate flag you have ever seen in your life that is like, welcome here, guys. Nobody cares about Ole Miss. It's such a joke. It's such a waste of space. They'll never win anything. They'll never be reasonable. And Lane Kiffin would crawl on broken glass next year when Billy Napier loses his job. He'll probably be the new head coach at the University of Florida because nobody stays at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss doesn't win anything. So it really doesn't matter. There you go.
You heard it there first. We had a texter call in asking about Brian Courtney, which is a pretty interesting one. Having to switch positions. I feel like the kid, he's one of these guys who really wants to try, but a guy like Kevin Knowles, I guess you do have to question, anytime a guy gets moved around like that. Yeah, he's doing it for the better of the team, but at the end of the day, it can't necessarily always be the best thing for him, especially when they move back. Like both of those guys brought back to their original position. So what was last year? So I guess curious on y'all's opinion on Mr. Courtney.
Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, one, he's really hot. I'd hate to lose him. That's what I'm gonna say. Let's go. Next person in the chat. All right. That's what I had to say.
Let's go.
Sorry.
That was
I get it. I get it. There are, you know what, Jen, Kay Michelle is this 40-year-old former singer, man, is dating this young up and coming rapper.
No. Not for me. Not for me. No.
We gotta say they're adorable. That's the key word. They're adorable. That's what I have to tell. When I see a nice young, there's only one person that I would never call adorable because her genes are elite, and I ain't gonna say it, but if Chris knows what I'm talking about. But if I ain't saying it, I'll take care of it. I just need the kid. I'm looking for the future of the program. and that's all, man. I'll take care of the kid. She can go do whatever. She can keep doing what she needs to do.
No. Y'all all get to say women are good looking, and I'm allowed to say a man is hot too. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna run with it.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
Like nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Older women play. Can you cook? Because these young girls can't cook. So like
this side of the screen is thinking about something completely different from Florida State football right now. But yes, unfortunately, I know exactly who James is talking about. Fortunate, but unfortunate at the same time. Anyways, so I got certain particular relationships with people. Her being one of them, she's like, now my little sister. So
yeah,
it to me, like I can't. I'm not, and I wouldn't tell you that my sisters aren't pretty either. But that's not.
Now I know who we're talking about. See, we don't have the whole.
There's only one.
In it.
There's only one, but no, Brian Courtney. It's also like a tall tale. They tell you in recruiting to watch the visits. Well, you moved him to linebacker, that didn't work out. You moved him back to tight end. You still haven't heard his name called this year. He's also a 2022 class. Yep. I'm telling you, that whole class for us I don't think people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say no. I get it. I think he was like a kind of. I'm not gonna. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I was just saying he's very nice to look at.
He's a cutie. He's handsome.
But I think the 2022 class is a case of why COVID really kind of affected the game. Because you got to think, so classes, people are like projecting classes years out. And so you had a whole time for 20 and 21 where you couldn't travel was restricted. You couldn't really move and do what you needed to do. So you project it and you just like, oh, okay, this kid has characteristics in which we like normally. He should be fine for what we want. On top of, I'll be honest with you, the only critique that I have sometimes is we don't have to recruit the 3 stars anymore. We don't have to go and continue to search like, oh, man, this is a kid that nobody's going to want. Like, that's what you do when you're at the G5 level. The resources and what we have, we can go and go for the sure things. Even though we haven't necessarily won those battles like we wanted to in the past. But, that's why I think we missed on a lot of 2022s is because we just weren't able to get the evaluations. And you have to rely on film. And I've seen – we don't do this at the school that I'm at. And I'm not saying we're perfect. But there are some schools who are quick to go push 1.5 on the video to make the kids make them look like they're playing faster.
They wouldn't do that, James. Come on, no, they wouldn't really do that shit.
No, because we were watching it. I'm saying they're sending that to us.
Holy shit.
Or we're finding it to break it down, and we're sitting here thinking we're playing, oh, man, this team is fast. And then you go out there and it's slow as molasses. And, is or the competition level that they're playing. Or even, remember, high schools had to deal with the same thing. Like, so they had to try to train and develop kids, but they didn't see the kids. And, you had to practice, like, separation, and you couldn't really have everybody in the weight room like you wanted to. So there was a couple years of development that were that were missed. So that's why I think the 2022. That's why I think really all of this stuff is going to even out the further we get away from the pandemic. It was just a little wild.
Yeah, I talked a lot about how 19 and 20 and even 21 were affected somewhat by the kind of the star evaluations, but you still had guys that got developed. You just didn't really, there were some missed evals, but a lot of the classes still panned out. We still got 8 to 10 guys off of 20 and 21 that are, legit player starters on this team, which is great. But 2022, you got a good point. Like, is it worse to be a sophomore and a junior during the pandemic or to be a senior and you're just missing that 1 year? So that makes perfect sense that you would end up with kind of a dud in 2022. But we're at almost an hour and 7 minutes. Again, the numbers on the bottom of the screen. Scrolling across Thursday, I'll run across a couple things that Mike Norvell said. He's talked about the offense won the day. That was kind of a flip. The defense had its worst day it had in a while, but we keep hearing better things out of DJU, Jen's absolute favorite quarterback in the world. And pretty big for him to finally come out and say the offense got the better of the day. Brock has a little bit of an injury. He's been limited somewhat. Some people were erroneously reporting that he's out for all of spring and this and that. That's not true. Just a little dinged up. And Mike, he spoke about it after practice. I spoke about Sean Murphy earlier. He had been a little dinged up, hadn't been great, but had been kind of, I don't know, Mike said maybe he had a little injury, so he's a little bit trepidatious, but really kind of starting to let it go and play fast. Said he had his very best day all year. And he keeps talking about Richie and TJ. I'm starting to think those could end up be your 2 starting guards. I mean, it'd be hard to believe that there's not a single guard on the team that wins out a job over those 2. But I've been predicting Richie to start from the beginning, and I don't know. I'm curious what y'all think on that. And Marvin Jones Jr., of course, is killing it. I already mentioned Jalen Lucas hitting like 23 miles an hour at practice. So everything's kind of on fire, but we got a little bit more time. If there's anything y'all heard or want to share, now's the time for that.
I think Keandre Jones and TJ. I think Richie comes in if we see Maurice get. We haven't seen him finish an entire season yet. Yeah. Which is kind of why it's sad that we lost Quayshawn Sapp, because Quayshawn Sapp would be a natural progression going right there into the center position. But it's. I think that's where for the first time in a while, I think we got 7 that we can legitimately go out there and feel comfortable with. and go out there and push people around, which is, again, my mindset is different than other people's mindset. That's the NFL. Like, you don't get to have 15 offensive linemen. You don't even have that on your roster, but you only have 7 on your game day roster. So if somebody goes down, you have to put in somebody, and now you have one guy in Richie who can play basically all 3 positions on the interior. You got Rob Scott that can play everywhere, Darius Washington that can play everywhere, along with others. So, like I tell people, man, do I want recruiting to be like great and nothing but 5 stars? I don't know, guys. Call me old school. I like to win. I don't give a damn where you get these. If the kids, I want to be able to go out there and play and win, and I want to win now. I worry about next year when it comes. But like, if you had to ask me about Mo Smith, Richie, TJ, Darius, and Byers, and obviously that could hold on. Mo Smith, TJ, Richie, Darius, Byers, Rob, and then
and that answers a question that somebody just texted in who they thought your starting up 5 are. So there you have. There's the answers.
I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Richie Leonard.
That's it. So Richie.
I think that's big. I think finally Maurice can have somebody he can depend on. Do you think he can be that guy to where if they like Maurice has missed games because it's like he physically can't get out there. He's played through everything because he's been the best option. Hopefully we have a legit second option to where if we're playing Syracuse, he can just actually rest and not go out there and risk his,
And what's funny is you got fans who are just like, we need to replace him. He's this, he's that. I'm like, guys, you think they ain't tried to replace him? Like, the boy knows how to play ball. Like,
Casey Roddick
undersized and all. Like, he's one of the guys that I'm shocked that, I would think more fans like a guy like him, because even though he's still a massive human being compared to a normal person, he is an undersized lineman. He's the underdog that just keeps winning. Like Jalen Lucas should be a fan favorite. He's just, some guys are petite out there and they doing their thing, man. So Maurice isn't even in the, I would say this, Mo is is closer to a top guy, it's one of our top centers that we've had in program history than he is to our worst centers that we've had in program history. Because I remember one guy that with the Jags drafted Taven Bryan. I don't know who our center was then, but I know I didn't like him. And when I seen him whipping Taven Bryan, that let me know I didn't want Taven Bryan. I said, if our guy's whipping him, then he does not deserve to be a first-round pick in the NFL. He is not meant for this. So,
even after Hudson left, we struggled there until they moved Irving in there. I lied. Stork was the beast. What am I fucking talking about? It was just 2014 that they brought Irving in, and when he moved to center, it was just like a fucking bull up the center. All of a sudden, it completely changed everything, and Dalvin Cook started running all over the world. But,
well, did y'all not see after the ladies soccer field spring game that Miami is going to the playoffs? Is that correct? So
Miami
get your t-shirts.
They had the exact same tweets last year.
No, did they?
Hold on, let me see if I can find. I shit you. My bad. I don't want y'all to get demonetized. I deal with this all the time. If you curse too much, you get the little yellow thing, and I don't want y'all to get that. But I'm about to find these tweets.
Wait, James, are you saying that Miami says this type of stuff every year? Are you saying they say this every year?
22 years they've been saying the same thing.
Oh, shit. 22 years.
Who knew? I had no idea. I really thought this was like the first year they've been really excited about their team.
No, 2 years ago, TVD was the shoe-in Heisman.
4/17/23. So we're in 24 now, right? Because sometimes I forget when I'm signing my checks.
And TVD had near the same stat line. I think 288 and 3 touchdowns.
Spring game standout, Tyler Van Dyke. TVD looked really comfortable in the new offense last night. He was getting the ball out quick and looked like he had good timing with the wide receivers, especially in the short, medium passing game. Really excited to see how TVD does this year. Go Canes, go the U. Tyler Van Dyke threw for 288 yards and 3 touchdowns. To a guy who's not there, Jacoby George, as Miami held its annual spring game at Drive Pink Stadium on Friday night in front of a few thousand people. That was a 247 article. And I have video. Miami fans are going to get mad at me because I have the video of Cam Ward's highlights. And it's just like, it's basically my son's I-9 football team trying to guard a bunch of Division I wide receivers. So, but my kids can battle now. I think Miami would beat my I-9 football team. I'll give Miami props for that. But I think we'll hold them to, they wouldn't mercy rule us. I think we would do pretty good, but that's what it looked like. So
even amongst national people, like the kind of narrative out there that just because if you look on paper, their last 3 high school recruiting classes have been better than ours. There's this like gap between certain people that they act like Miami has this big talent gap over Florida State. And I'm just like, I just don't know what you're looking at. You cannot like transfers. You cannot like all this. They may have a couple more 5 stars out of high school, but I mean, you just mentioned the guy, Jacoby George, didn't he transfer to Alabama? They're talking about him being their starter and being their number 1 guy over there coming out of spring.
At Georgia,
so it's like
they said he was the number 3 guy. He would have been the number 3 guy at UM, but
Yeah, George, I think you're saying
Georgia?
Josh,
I'm sorry.
No, I think you're saying Josh Pate and JD Pickell, right? Those are the ones that promote and hump Mario Cristobal. And I don't know what photos that Mario has on some of these announcers, but that's all they do is promote Mario every year. They're back every year, ESPN and 247 Sports and On3, all of the things try and tell us.
Old titty slapper.
Yeah, they try and tell us the same thing. They're back this year. And I actually saw a video today and I kind of dropped my phone because I started laughing. And it was JD Pickell. Reaction to the Miami spring game. How good are they going to be next year? He actually has them winning the ACC at the end of the video. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, you can only cry wolf so many times. You're not winning the ACC until Miami. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
You said JD Pickell?
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, y'all gonna have to give Josh Newberg, JD Pickell, and anybody on 3 a break. They are in, the crystal meth capital of the world where they're centralized. So
I thought they were in Nashville. Oh,
is that what we're saying? There's a league. Almost called out Morgan Wallen. I'm not going to start.
I love it. Us, Chris, Chris is a Memphian. Us Memphians, we love throwing shade on Nashville. It's like our favorite thing to do. So let's do it.
Hey, he's not used to having somebody here who gets that. Usually, I'm like, what?
I was told in Memphis that all the.
Now I get it. I understand now. I get it, Josh. I'm with you. I know why Josh Pate. I didn't realize Josh Pate was single. And he likes to go to South Beach. South Beach has those consonants that are down there, and the transmissions and stuff like that. So he might he's down there seeing what he liked and he keeps inviting them there. So like he gets the opportunity to live his alternative lifestyle and be able to cover sports, and they got what he wants. So like
allegedly.
Okay, I get it with the alternative lifestyle. Now I feel what you're saying. I got it. I got it. He does seem to really like Mario. I get it with the Okay, I got it now. I gotcha.
But it's all good. Whatever. Again,
I'm right there with you. No, I'm right there with you. I'm cool with it.
The cool thing about the spring brings in new life. And it's a refreshing start. And everybody feels like they have an opportunity to win. And you know what? Bravo. We've been seeing this I think I'm as I just told people, this would be my was it Mike Gundy year. So I can finally use the quote, I'm a man, I'm 40. I've been wanting to use that for quite some time. I get to use that now. Just so for perspective, Miami hasn't done anything of note since I was a junior in high school. So, so just so my bad. Excuse me. No, I was a senior. My senior year in high school is when they won.
I'm like covering
the
y'all up.
championship. And
Whenever y'all get done, I'll read that super
That's
chat.
like looking up over the banner. I'm sorry. I just love it. I love it.
I got about, but if you say every year you're back, it's one day you might be back. If I say the world is going to end, like the world is going to eventually end. And then I can see, I told you, nobody's going to say I was 1,000 times wrong, but good for them. All I know is I'm taking, especially if some things change in my life, I'm taking all bets. So like just whatever people want to say, you're going to win. Cool. No problem. I'm not arguing with you. There's no trolls. Just what you want to put on it.
Boys are going to be lucky to beat Florida this year. There's no doubt about it. Let me read our guy, Tiny Hat, a.k.a. Ken, one half of the new show we're working on here at the Renegade Report. Try to do my best rant for him here. Every year, the Hurricanes are back, just like every year. Iowa going to have an offense. We don't believe you. No, we don't believe you. You need more people. So that wasn't very good. Not a good impression, but we appreciate you, KP, again with the $5 super chat. I thought I fixed that where they were smaller. We'll have to get back. We'll cover up half the show by putting the super chat up there.
I'm like
Mr. Wilson looking over the fence.
I wasn't even trying to look over the damn thing. I was scratching underneath my beard.
Oh, I was like, oh, is he looking over? Oh, okay. I was like, oh man.
But I blame Ford Mustangs for the wants from certain types of looking.
Not Ford Mustang.
Yeah, young men at 16 at JD Piquel and also Josh Pate. How old they are now? At 16, they wanted a manual Mustang.
Oh my God! Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I know it. Mm-hmm.
They would name it Sally or Barb. That. So you give the car a girl's name, but you want it to be a manual transmission. So you're playing with a stick while yet naming it a girl. So that's what I blame all of this for. Is Ford. They did it. Even the Trans Am wasn't as bad as the Ford Mustang. I'm telling you, nobody at their age wanted a Trans Am. They all wanted that damn Mustang, and they wanted to play with the little stick in the middle. And it's always little. It's not a big one. They always play with the little stick, and they name it a girl's name. So they
bought the special adapter to go on top of.
They put a new knob on it.
Oh, the things we talk about here at the Renegade Report, man. This has been a freaking fun show. We're at 536 people live, so we really appreciate everybody on X and on YouTube. If you're on X and you don't usually get over to YouTube, if you could ever take the time to just get over and subscribe, you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just hit a like and subscribe over there. We can't even tell you how huge it is, and we appreciate all of our X followers, of course, as well. Keep the questions coming in. We usually go an hour and a half. We're at like an hour and 23 minutes. Chris has already stayed 3 times as long as we thought we were going to be able to have him to say. And man, we have a caller right here. You about to have to run, James? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you said you got a caller?
Yeah, we got a caller. You talked James into staying for one more little segment, so you're live, buddy.
Seminoles fan, and I want to just say love the show. And guess what? Death Star. We bringing the Death Star. We the new republic. Everybody hates us. That's what I love. I love when they hate us, because guess what? When they hate us, we do better. So guess what?
What is it, brother? All right. Well, guess what? I think we lost him there, but I'm with you, man.
That's a Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I love it. Yes, that was a Star Wars reference. The Death
I don't
Star.
know much about it, but somebody called me some troll called me goddamn Jabba the Hutt, and I didn't know what the hell Jabba the Hutt was. And I had to go look at it. I'm like, wait a minute now. I'm medium handsome. I ain't that ugly. But Jabba had money and Jabba had hoes. So like I think that was kind of cool at the same time.
He sure did. And he sat up there smoking a hookah. That's all he did.
No, I'm not smoking no hookah. I can't smoke no hookah. But
you got the lounge. You're just not sucking on the hookah.
Yeah, no hookah. Yeah. No hookah. But nah,
well, guys, we've gone late. I think James was just saying he has a Sunday dinner to get to. I'm not sure. Like I said, Chris has stayed way longer than he was supposed to. Jen has babies and kittens on the way too, and everything else. So I guess James, you got anything you want to plug? You want to plug Den Media Group, the tailgate again, whatever you want.
Tailgate, this week I'm telling you, it's be a great time to subscribe. Between this week and next week, I'm just gonna drop a stupid amount of content. Tomorrow morning, Big Games BS 9:30-ish. We'll also be doing I'll be doing a UF spring breakdown with Dave Waters at 6:30. I believe I'm gonna be doing a UM spring breakdown with Kelvin. I can't think of Kelvin's last name right now, but he was a 3-time national champion with the University of Miami. It's Ebony Styles on Twitter. He's pretty good. Obviously, we'll be talking about it on Big Games BS. Those will be a little bit more serious, where I'm asking them some questions. We're going to be doing draft content. I'm trying to get every one of the guys
Man, I forget
to be able to talk about the draft and what their process is. And then we'll obviously with the spring game, we'll be there. Hope to see everybody at the tailgate. Hope everybody's going to have a great time and a blast. Enjoy. We got to enjoy winning, man. Again, it wasn't even that dark. We're overly emotional about shit, but it wasn't it wasn't the standard in which we all grew up, and we're getting as close to the standard as possible, where we can have fun year round with football, fun optimism with spring with actual facts, because we have guys getting drafted. We have optimism going into the season. The season's good. All those different things. So, enjoy it while we're here, because, you never know how long it's going to last. So, appreciate you guys. Me and Chris, obviously, we'll be doing sporadics tomorrow as well. So, just please go join the channel. I think we are 462 away from 6,000. So, as we get to 6,000, we'll do a giveaway. The goal is to get to 10,000 before the season. 10,000 before the season, we're giving away a pair of season tickets. Also, for all our members, you guys get the right now, Jen will get the concierge treatment for the hotels, so she'll see how life goes with that, so she can be able to report to you guys what it's like to be a member. When you see those prices for hotels in Tallahassee and you're like, oh my God, it's too expensive, guess what it's not expensive for? Members of Den Media Group. So make sure you just hit us up, and I'll make sure we get you hooked up, and you won't even have a 2-night minimum. So, all right. Appreciate y'all guys.
Facts. Thank you, man. Chris, I know you got sporadics going on, and you're obviously part of the tailgate, but feel free to plug whatever you got. Let everybody know what you got going on. And I don't know if you want to touch on that little thing about Discovery. It's not much to it, but we could.
That's fine. First off, I don't know if anybody that subscribed to this channel is not subscribed to mine.
Probably not.
But if you're not, make sure that you get over to sporadics. Subscribe. We are 27 away from 6,000. We go live every Monday and Thursday, but here lately I've been dropping special videos. Like I dropped one Saturday. It's doing really well. I dropped a bunch Tuesday of last week because of the hearing. This week I will be dropping probably 2 videos before the show even starts at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And that's just, as long as my guy's telling me that it's going to drop when it's supposed to, then I will be able to. But outside of that, just get over to Sporadic, subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you're not subscribed to this channel that you do so. Like the video. Y'all do me a favor, because I don't know if they ask or not, but take this video and go share it on social media, whether that be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, whatever it is, all the above. I don't care what you do it on. But go share it so other Florida State fans can see where you get your news from. Outside of that, there's a redacted couple of pieces of the contract that was turned into Judge Bledsoe in North Carolina. And redacted having, these blackouts inside of that contract. Like the ACC gave X, but that's the blackout part of payments to Florida State and blah, blah, blah members of the ACC, including Notre Dame. Judge Bledsoe asked for all the things that were redacted to be unredacted. Take that shit off. I want to see what it says. They have until tomorrow afternoon to do that, as in the ACC. So it's not a whole lot to it. It's just the fact that even the small portion of the contract that was given to Judge Bledsoe had a lot of black spots on it that was covering up the information that we all want to know, including the judge. So we will see exactly what those numbers are tomorrow, because they can't not take it off. They have to, because they've been ordered by a judge to do so. So they'll have to take it off. And we haven't even got to discovery yet, and we're already redacting shit as far as the ACC goes. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and making sure that y'all do. I sent George the tailgate where you can buy tailgate tickets. He will put it in the description of the video. But it's also all over my social media. We just put a video out earlier today about that. It's also got all the meet. If I was to put all the Florida State players and tag all of them in that, there's no way I would have been able to make the post. Step one. Step two, if I put X amount in there and I leave X out, I'm going to get bitched at. And I don't like getting bitched at by former players, so I didn't do it. So that's why it says many former Noles will be at the tailgate, which is very true. Also, y'all seen Michael Offord? He wants rendezvous sauce, I'm sure. And I think he's referring to never mind. I'll go to that later one day. But there is a pretty good amount of people that have already bought tickets to the tailgate. But for some reason, Monday through Wednesday, and sometimes on Thursday, which is just a couple of days before the tailgate, people buy the living shit out of these tickets. And then we have to completely double or triple what we were going to do. All I ask you is if you're possibly able to go ahead and do it today, tonight, tomorrow, or even Tuesday, I would much appreciate it, just so me and James and CJ and anyone else that's involved is not running around for half of the tailgate trying to compensate all the new shit that just happened. So if you do me any favors, just go ahead and get the tickets now so we know how many people there will be. We asked for that at the LSU tailgate. We had 996 tickets bought. We ended up having over 1,200 and something people. So don't do that to me again. And we had to clean that place up that night. We didn't leave until 2:30 in the morning. And we started at what time, George?
First thing in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock, something.
Yeah.
He was going all the way.
Y'all don't do that to me again. And plus, this is at home, and we're going to be on lot 5. So don't make me clean up a lot of stuff. I'd appreciate it. There's garbage cans everywhere. Help me out. But that's pretty much it.
All righty. Well, it's been an amazing show. Jen, is there anything you wanted to add before we get out here, or let anybody know? There was one thing that I would say about the redactions, because people said we already know what it says. Most of it is just numbers, so it's just kind of wanting to know what the actual numbers and how much they pay. But there is one section pertaining to the extensions in 2013 and 2016 where there is a couple words that really could be important that I'm really looking to see. So we'll have more from that as it comes out tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have screenshots of the unredacted files and stuff come Tuesday. But again, yeah, Jen, if you've got anything, the floor is yours for whatever rant or whatever you want to plug or let us know about the kitty, and we'll get out of here and call it a day.
Unmute, Jen. Unmute.
No, it's just I can't wait to see all you guys next week. I'm looking so forward to it and just super excited. And I will talk to you guys on Tuesday again, because we do have a show on Tuesday. So that'll be the last time I talk to you guys until I get to Tallahassee, and I can't wait.
Let's go. Coming live from Tallahassee Friday night with a show. We're not sure exactly where the hell or how we're gonna do it, whether it's gonna be from the hotel or from a business or something that we work out. We'll find out. We'll let y'all know exactly what's going on when it comes to it.
Do you honestly think you're gonna be sober enough to do a show Friday night?
Yeah, well, I just thought about that as I said it. Yeah, we're gonna have to make a decision there.
I'm a very responsible person, and No, I don't.
We can do an early show. Maybe we y'all with we'll do a after big games BS comes off. We'll do one at like 11 Eastern in the morning or something just to be safe. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks again for Big Game James that was here with us, Den Media Group, our good friend Chris Frazier of Spear Addicts, and my lovely co-host Jen Knoll 2013. It was real, and we will see you guys next time. We'll leave y'all with Trub Life. Since we had a little fun at the end, we might as well leave with some Carlos Williams highlights in that Trub Life track again to say fuck Bama and all those college football playoff assholes.
Hey, man. FSU versus everybody. Let go. First off, fuck Bama in the road tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash, they ain't got a damn chance. Only Wolverine I respect is X-Man. Keen ass coach got